All right, what do you want to go over today in your invite? It was about team leads.
Yep. So basically, the objective we're trying to accomplish. So Brandy is running the InTouch home team. How we kind of have teams set up. Team leads on a 15K cap. Each additional agent is a 5K cap. We want team leads to be able to access kind of back-end ops to figure out how things are going to work for their team, whether they want to do all cap together or let individual agents cap a certain amount, if they're going to do splits differently, like basically if a team assigns a split, things like that, or if a team assigns a lead. And then I think Sarah's here as well.
Yeah, let me let her in really quick. Sarah, can you hear us?
Yep, I sure can.
Okay. All right. So how do you want to start this? Because there's a couple of different ways to do it. Do you want me to just kind of go over the options when setting up a commission plan?
Sure.
Versus like a team commission plan with a shared cap and then individual team caps?
Yeah, basically the objective is we want Brandy to feel confident with back-end ops and that she can run the back end of her team. And then so we know how to do it for all future kind of team leads as well. Like we got a couple gals who are thinking about starting a team together and join the brokerage too. So they would be like co-team leads. So we want people to understand how they can handle their back-end ops.
Okay. I'm going to use this this plan as an example. So just for Brandy and Sarah, just for you guys, what happens when an agent signs up with the system, you guys onboard them, each agent will be assigned to a specific commission plan. So that's going to be the details of their plan. And it can change per transaction, but they have to be assigned to a specific commission plan. So we have lots of different plans, different ways to set things up. The type of plan would be a capped plan. So that means that the agent and the team is contributing to a certain amount per transaction. And then you set up the details of the plan down here. So this is going to be a plan set up for individual agents that are paying their $5,000 to their contribution to the team. So you set up the different levels. So you have 0 to 5,000. This one's a 90% split. Once it caps, the system will automatically recognize that they've capped and start calculating their disbursements according to whatever the plan is. So this one, they would move up to 100%. So if you have a team where each individual agent is contributing to their own cap, you would set them up on an individual plan like this, where it's $5,000. If you have a team where it's a shared commission plan, there's an option here to do a shared commission plan. So you would just turn that on. That'll take anybody that's assigned to that plan and contribute all of their money to that one cap amount so that they all are contributing to the same cap. Does that make sense so far?
I think I got it. Okay.
I think Brandy might be frozen.
So there she is. Brandy, are you kind of tracking this? Yeah, she definitely is getting a little frozen.
Yeah. Sarah, do you have any questions?
Nope, I'm just soaking it all in. This is my first time seeing it.
Okay. I think Sarah's having audio problems too. Or maybe that was Brandy. So basically, you're just going to make sure that you have your commission plans for your team set up according to how they need to be set up on either a shared cap plan or an individual cap plan. So each person pays an individual amount towards a cap.
Okay. And
I think Brandy's doing a different way, so
So basically, we've got, I guess, the controls to onboard people. Are we allowed to do can we set it up as like a team thing where there's going to be like the parent of the team? So like Brandy, and then she has access to kind of modify things based on her people.
Yeah. So do you want the team leaders to just be restricted in the system to their own team member stuff, like setting up their own team member commission plans? They're running reports for just their teams, or do you want them to have access to everything and then be able to set up their own commission plan?
So definitely we want to kind of restrict it to the teams. So we want to give them all the tools, but just within kind of that realm.
Okay. So the next thing that you'll want to do, and Tyler, you'd probably have to do this on your end, is go into agents and teams.
Okay.
And we've kind of already set this one up for you, but this is a team report. So this would give Tyler access to pull a report specific to the people that are listed here on his team. So we'd want to do the same thing for Brandy and Sarah.
Yep. So that's actually Brandy's team. So we want to kind of remove me from that and insert Brandy.
Okay.
Okay. I'm trying different audio. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Okay.
Is Brandy in the system yet?
No.
No, she's getting through her onboarding docs.
Okay. Once she's in here, Tyler, you can just come in here and change your name to Brandy.
Okay.
And then just save it down here at the bottom.
So what does that kind of look like then? So like the InTouch home team, how do her tools kind of look to her?
So you're going to have to do two different things. One, you're going to have to add them as agents so that do they receive a commission on each transaction? How does the split work for the team?
So it's gonna vary based on the team. So we want them to have the ability to kind of decide that.
Okay. There's like a whole bunch of different options. So once you guys decide if we need to set up another call to go through this, I can do that. But generally speaking, what you'll want to do is add them as an agent and add them as a staff user.
Okay.
So once you add them as a staff user, I'm just going to use Steven as an example, but you have the option to restrict the user to a specific team only. So then you could choose like the InTouch Homes team. So when they log in, it'll look just like this, but they're only going to have access to their team members' stuff. And then Tyler, you would still have access to everybody else's stuff. So that's one thing. You'll have to add them as an agent and as a staff user. And keep in mind that when you do that, they will have to have two different email addresses to add them as users for both. But they really only need to log in as their staff user account to manage everything. They can manage their own deals and everything through that login. So then if we come back over here to the team, so this is setting up team reports. So that would give them access and reports to just pull their team reports. The other thing that you'll probably want to do is there's different ways to set up different splits on a team. So there's a team leader setup and there's a shared revenue setup. The team leader setup means, let me open this. I'm just gonna put Brandy's name in here. So then you'd put your agent, like whoever the team leader is, let's say it's Brandy, but we're gonna use your name, Tyler.
Yeah.
So then you would put the commission plan that the team leader's on in here. And then you can add multiple team members. So the way that this works is, the team leader setup means that one person is assigned to the transaction. They're going to get sales volume credit, commission volume credit, etc. And then the second person is just receiving a flat percentage or a flat dollar amount out of the team leader's commission. So it's going to give the team leader the gross commission and then pay the other person, a percentage, say like a 70-30 split or whatever it is. So that's one way to set it up for teams. And then on a transaction, you would select the team. It'll break it down however you have the team set up. The other option is called a shared revenue. Shared revenue means that you assign 2 agents or 3 agents, however many you need to a deal. So you choose 1 agent, and then you'd add another agent down here. And you can add as many agents as you need to. And then let's say this is the same thing, like a 70-30 split. So this means that each agent will be assigned to the transaction. They're all going to get gross commission volume credit, sales volume credit, and then it's going to take the total commission amount, the gross commission, and split it according to whatever percentages. So this one would be a 70-30 split. If you do it this way, you can assign a commission plan to each member of the team. So let's say you have the team leader doesn't pay any fees and they just get a flat percentage, but then your team members are paying, say, a transaction fee. Then you can assign the different commission plans that are supposed to be assigned to each agent that's on the deal. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, we're just, yeah, as long as you send us the recording at the end of this, we should be able to kind of plug through some of this stuff. And then if we do have questions, we can kind of reach out.
Okay, yep. I'm gonna save this one just as an example. The way that this team splits will work on an actual transaction, if you add a transaction into the system, and then come down here to the bottom, the selected team option will be here, and then you'll have a drop down of all the teams. If you restrict their access to only their teams, they're only going to see the team options for their team. But then it basically just fills out the information for you. So you don't have to come in and add another agent, figure out what the split's going to be. It just kind of sets up a template.
Okay.
So that's how that will work. And just for, are you guys using the SkySlope? Yeah. And just for, I guess, their knowledge, all the transactions are going to sync over from SkySlope. So once the transactions are in the system and assigned to your team members or yourselves, you'll really just need to come into the view transaction page, which will have a pipeline of everything, and select your team. And whatever the details are of your team and how it's going to be split will auto-populate and auto-calculate that way.
Cool.
Brandy, Sarah, do you guys have any questions?
This is my first time looking at the system, so I'm going to familiarize myself.
Honestly, I'm agree
get
with
it.
Brandy. I think we're going to have questions as we go along and play with it a little more.
Okay.
I do have one question.
Yeah. Do you want? Yeah.
So I know, like, this is an example, a team that's not in our brokerage, but they do something where if the team lead gives the lead, it's a 50-50 split between the agent and the team lead. But if the team member brings it, it's an 80-20 split to the agent and 20% to the team lead. So there are easy ways to kind of create some rules like that for each team lead to give to their team members.
Yeah, you could do it the same way and do like a team. I don't even know how to word this. But.
So like team leader deal, team member deal, or something like that.
Yeah, and then you can just do like a 50-50 if it's a team leader deal, and then do a different plan with the team member deal.
Okay.
And do like an 80-20 or whatever it was. One thing that you do have over here is a copy function. So you can copy, like create one standard plan and then copy it. And it'll copy all the details of the plan that you have set up, and then you can just go in and adjust the name of it, add different agents if you need to, or change the split. So you don't have to come in here and fill it out each time.
Then when they assign it, like if there were different plans, would that be as soon as it syncs over from SkySlope, or when they're creating the disbursement, or how would that work?
When it syncs over from SkySlope, well, you
Tyler,
could do
can
it
you say your
either,
question
really.
again?
Say it again.
Yeah.
He was asking, when do you assign the team to the transaction? When it syncs over from SkySlope, or when you're getting ready to create the disbursement? Yeah. The transactions will sync over from SkySlope kind of ongoing. Every time that the sync is ran, it'll just keep updating the transactions from SkySlope, so many details. So I probably would assign the team right before you're getting ready to create the disbursement. Otherwise, it might just keep overriding it depending on if there was changes made to the transaction in SkySlope. Another caveat to all of this is that if you are setting up the transactions in SkySlope with the team leader and the team member on it, it'll sync over and assign both people to the deal. So you may not even need to use these team structures. It kind of depends on how you're setting it up in SkySlope too. So there's a lot of different ways to handle different scenarios. So it's kind of hard to like I feel like I'm dumping a bunch of information on you guys, but without a lot of details and then going through specifics of how you want to structure your team. So it gets confusing. So don't feel bad if you guys are totally lost in the beginning and don't know what to do to set up the teams. We can jump on another call and I can walk you through it once you guys kind of figure out the details. But like generally speaking, these are a few of the options that you have. Do you guys want me to run through kind of like a quick, this is what the system is and how it functions so that you guys kind of understand more what we're talking about as far as disbursements and transactions?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. I'll just do a super fast little demo for you. When you log into the system, it's automatically going to pull up this dashboard. So it's going to have your closed transactions, anything that's coming up to close, your pending onboarding templates. So onboarding is done through the system. I mean, it's optional, but you can do it through the system. So technically you could create onboarding templates, so packets of information that you can mark up with DocuSign, which is included with the system as well, for your team. So when you're getting ready to put someone new on your team, you could just send them an onboarding template and they can sign and fill everything out at that time. And that'll keep track of anything that's outstanding. And then you have your sales volume. So this would be specific to your team when you log in. If they're restricted to a team, Tyler, it'll only pull up their team transaction information.
So we have standardized brokerage docs. We have to send like W-9s, office policies, stuff like that. But like, for example, if Brandy's adding people to the InTouch team, she wanted to have some specific stuff for them. We could kind of create an onboarding template, or we could collaborate on it or whatever for the InTouch team.
Correct, yeah.
That's kind
and
of
I'll show you guys where that's at in just a second so that you kind of see what we're talking about. But yeah, you can create as many templates as you want so that you guys can just send them out to your team members. So Tyler, you don't have to deal with it. They can just do it. There's also a calendar link in here, so this will pull up anything that's going on. There's a key up here with different information. So it's kind of a quick snapshot to see like, oh, I have a transaction closing in 2 days, so I need to go in and create the disbursement for it. The agents tab, all of the agents' information is stored in what's called an agent profile page. So when you guys log in, it'll just be your team, like information that you see. But each agent has an agent profile with the details that they filled out during onboarding, basic information in here. Any documents that they've signed and filled out will be in this Documents tab. So this would all be auto-uploaded from DocuSign once they're done signing everything and filling it out. The commission plan that they're assigned to would be managed in this section. So if you needed to change their plan, you can change it here. And this also gives you details of where they're at in their plan. So if you wanted to pull, this is only one place to get this information, but you can pull a quick little, like, let me see where they're at in reaching that cap. And then down here, there's individual fees that you can set up per agent if you don't have them built into the commission plan. Like an example would be if you have an agent that needs to have garnishments taken out on each check, something like that. You can set it up on a per agent basis rather than a commission plan basis. Then you have a commission log page. This is just to see what the agents have been paid, their closings, the transaction address, etc. monthly billing or agent billing is used for monthly billing. So if you guys were charging any monthly fees, yearly fees, one-time invoices, anything like that, that would all be managed and set up in this section here. And then they'd have a billing log. Anytime that you add an outstanding, sorry guys, anytime you add an outstanding billing item to an agent, it automatically will populate on their disbursements to be collected from their checks. So just keep that in mind. If you need to bill your agents for something, you can create an outstanding item that will notify you when they're closing so you can collect it back. You guys aren't using the credit card information. Agent permissions, you really shouldn't need to come in here too much. This is really just like a per agent permission, but I believe Tyler has everything set up kind of globally the way that he wants it set up. But if you guys need to make changes on a specific agent, you can do that. There's notes in here that you can keep on the agent. So these are internal notes. The agents don't have access to see any of this information. You guys aren't using ACH, but this is the payment transfer log if you were using ACH.
The goal is to get to the ACH. I think we've got like 6 or 7 of the required 10 through the system in order to enable ACH.
Okay. So once that gets set up, there's going to be a payment transfer log in here that you guys will be able to see. It'll tell you the initiated date of the transfer, when it's supposed to hit the agent's bank account, any notes about it, the amount, the date, etc. Then there's this task checklist. You can assign this to a person. I don't know if there's anything in here, but basically you can assign a task checklist. The task checklist is internal. It's not external for the agents of items they need to complete. It's other items that you guys need to complete internally before you're going to allow agents to start closing deals. And that would be anything included outside of the onboarding. So an example would be like setting up their SkySlope account, ordering business cards, things like that. And then there's this other income section. This is used to make payments to the agents or track payments that were made that is outside of a specific transaction. So if they got a bonus or something like that, you can track that for 1099 information at the end of the year. And then there's this history page. So this is going to show you any changes that have been made and who made them in the agent's profile page. So if somebody comes in here and updates their email address, it'll say who did that. So that's kind of an overview of the agent's profile page. Then under agents, add agents, this is where you're actually going to add your agents to the system. So agent will is sending them the onboarding package. If you have an agent that you don't really want to send an onboarding package to, and you just need to quickly get them in the system, you can do I will. And then here's all of your onboarding templates. So these are ones that have been pre-set up already. If you click on one of them, you can kind of see the details here. So these would have to be set up prior to sending it to them, but that's where you choose your options here. And when you click connect, it'll ask you for their email address, what commission firm they're assigned to, and then you click continue, and there's a confirmation page, and then they're just emailed it. It's kind of, Brandy, I'm sure that you know what that's, it'd be the same process that you're going through right now for onboarding. Over here, there's a master log for the billing, a master log for agent other income. There's an office documents tab where you can upload internal documents. So if you have something specific to your team that you wanted them to be able to have access to through the system, you can upload team documents here. And then your teams are managed here. Any questions about that? I know it was like super fast. Nope, okay. So if we come down to transactions, this is where all of the transactions will be managed. So SkySlope is already set up. It'll be syncing in from SkySlope. This page is just a sync log page. I don't think, Tyler, are you wanting them to manage this at all?
No, I mean, we just, our admin, Kelsey, kind of syncs it every day, and then they have basically access to their transactions, right? Or their TCs do. So they don't really need anything on that.
Okay. Just so you guys know, this is kind of what a sync log page looks like. It's going to tell the TCs like what's missing in the loops and why it's not syncing over. So they'll come in here, sync it, and it'll pull the transactions in on a day-to-day basis. And then all of the transactions are managed under this view transaction page right here. So that's where the main page is that you're going to be working from. Tyler, I don't think that they've synced it since the first. Do you want me to run a sync?
Yeah, let's run a sync because we got one that's closing next week that should be pulling over. I don't see it yet. Steven's got to finish getting it through SkySlope.
Okay. You might just want to like remind them to make sure that they're syncing it.
Okay.
But
I'll get doing it too.
Okay. So that's kind of where the information is going to come from. And then it'll move over here to the view transaction page. As the transactions come in, there's going to be a pipeline, so a list of all of the active transactions. If we come into this add transactions button, this is the transaction information page. So this is the information that actually pulls from SkySlope. So I'll just fill this out with some fake information so we can go through it and I can show you what that looks like. It'll pull in all the details. There's only some required fields that have to be filled out on the transaction, but there's additional information that comes over from this transaction in SkySlope. So then down here, it'll pull in whoever's assigned to it, and then it auto assigns their commission plan to them. So on a per transaction basis, you do have the option to change the plan. So if for some reason the commission plan that they're assigned to doesn't pertain, you can change it to a different split. This excludes this transaction from agents assigned commission plan. That means that whatever the details of the plan are, you don't want it counting towards their cap. So if you exclude it, then it won't count that towards their cap. And I'll delete this transaction out. There's a title attorney information page here. This will come over from SkySlope also, so this should be filled out for you. And then if we just come back over to view transaction, so this is what it'll look like when it syncs over. It'll be an open transaction. Completion status is just for BrokerSumo. It doesn't have anything to do with the completion status in SkySlope, so just keep that in mind. This completion status will update as you go through the process of closing a transaction in the system. So you can either click on the link here to open it up or go to action, either one. So you'll have your transaction status over here. So these are all the items that have to be completed to close a transaction in the system. You have to create a disbursement, approve the disbursement, the brokerage paid, agent paid. So when you click on commission disbursement up at the top, that's going to take the information from SkySlope and break down the commission for you. So you'll have your total gross commission up here, whatever fees have been entered into your commission plan, and then you'll have the agent's gross commission down here at the bottom. So on transactions where it's a team and there's two team members on it, so you have your team lead and the team member, you'll have two different sections that look just like this. So you'll have the listing commission, and then you'll have another agent information down here that looks exactly the same, just split however the details of your plan have been split. And that's using the shared commission plan option. If you're using a team leader option, there's these pay additional agent options here. There's one right here and there's one down here. So let me kind of explain what the difference is between these different sections of adding fees. You have pre-commission credit debits up here at the top. That's going to be anything that needs to be paid out of the total gross before the split with the agent. So basically it's coming off the top of the gross commission. You have additional agent closing fees. These are going to be any fees that the agent is paying out of their gross commission, and these fees go back to the company as income. And then you have your post-commission. So post-commissions are fees that the agents pay out of their gross that do not go back to the company as income. So when you're setting up your commission plans, if you set it up as a team leader setup, where the team member or the team leader is just getting a flat percentage or a flat dollar amount, it would go into this section here. And so it would look something like this. So just keep that in mind when you're setting up the plans. That's kind of where the different fees will go. So if the agent is paying it out of their gross commission, it goes down here under post. If it's coming off the top, it'll go under pre-commission. And as you add different fees in, it'll auto update the disbursement below. So down here at the bottom, you'll have your total due to the brokerage, the net amount to the company, any fees that have been deducted, and then the net amount owed to the agent. Any questions about that so far?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So when you create the disbursement, that's what actually saves it. At this step here, that's when it stops syncing from SkySlope. So it's not going to update anything from SkySlope once you've created the disbursement. And then, Tyler, who's sending the disbursements to title at this point? Do you want the team leaders doing this? Or do they need to send it to you for approval?
So basically they send it to us for approval, and then we basically send it out to title. As long as they have title's information in there, it should be pretty automatic. So like for Brandy,
Okay.
we have a TC who will be handling that. Her name's Andrea. Me and Sarah both have Steven. So the TCs will kind of be doing that.
Okay. So what the TCs so far have been trained to do is they create their disbursements, and then they're going to come in here and send an email to Tyler to approve everything. So that's kind of their process. And then Tyler goes through and closes everything else out. Any questions? Did I miss anything, Tyler, that you want me to go over?
These ladies are drinking through a fire hose right now. This is their first time seeing the system. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot.
Yeah,
We
I'm
will
gonna need a
have
couple.
more questions for you.
Okay. Did you say you have questions, or you're going to have questions
No,
later?
we'll probably have more for you once we start playing with it a little bit more.
Yeah, but if you could
Yeah.
definitely send us the recording so we can kind of try to muddle through some of this as we go. Because there's some stuff we're going to get tripped up on that you've showed us today that we aren't going to be able to retain the information. So that would be huge.
Yeah, I'll send it to you guys once we get done.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the basic information of the system. And then you guys will have reports over here you can pull for your teams. An important report for you guys is going to be this cap plan report. So this will show you where all of your agents are on your team and how much they have left to cap and how much they contributed towards their cap so far. So this is kind of a good report to keep in mind. Everything else, I don't know that we really need to go over. I know that once you guys get in here and start getting some more details about how you want your team set up, we can always jump on another call when you have all those details and just make sure everything's set up correctly. And we can go through an actual transaction together too when you guys have something that's closing.
Cool.
Because it is overwhelming the first time you see it. And you'll probably need to do like 6 or 7 transactions before you really get a good understanding of how to use it.
Yeah, I think this is like our 5th or 6th call, isn't it, Tawny? So there's definitely a lot of.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many options for everything. So if you don't know exactly what you want or what you're looking for, you're really just kind of thrown a bunch of information that probably doesn't make a lot of sense right now anyway.
I'm good.
Yeah, I haven't even done any transactions, period. So I'm learning like what normally happens and then learning your system. So it'll take me a minute.
Well, there is nothing normal ever. Every transaction is different. So.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Tawny.
All right. Do you want me to? You're welcome. Reach out to me when you guys want to set up another call and we can go kind of a little bit more into detail, or if you just want to get some questions together once you get a chance to come in here. You guys can also come in here and just add some fake transactions, just kind of what I just did, and play around with it a little bit so you get familiar. I'm sure if you do that, then you'll get some questions.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate all your time. I'm going to boogie.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, Brandy and Sarah. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.